the 2nd of March, 2024. I'm in the house alone, sitting at the dining room table, staring at my phone. Just 6 weeks earlier, I'd been blindsided by redundancy, losing my senior leadership role in a company I'd been with for over 18 years. And now, it's the morning after I found out that I need life-saving open heart surgery. I've been looking up what that involves, and it seems horrifying. So instead, I'm messaging a few friends to let them know what's happening and to cancel plans because I don't know when I'm going to be well enough to meet up with people again. In the blink of an eye, my whole world has turned completely upside down. This is not how I thought my year would start, and I feel scared and overwhelmed. It's in this moment, sitting at that table, that it all gets too much for me and I burst into tears. Everything that I thought I knew about my identity, my health, my future, have suddenly all been cast into doubt. And it has all the ingredients to send me sinking into despair. Something that I know all too well, because 6 years ago, I was struggling with depression and anxiety. Back then, I didn't know how to get help. I didn't know how to help myself. It just felt hopeless. But this time, it's different. I'm still scared, but now I have a small daily routine that I can turn to. The next morning, I head into the kitchen, make myself a coffee, and I sit at the same dining room table, and I start to write. At first, I don't know what to say, so I just describe what I can see outside the window. There's a couple of pigeons taking a chance on the lawn again, while our cats lurk in the background. But quite quickly, the things that are on my mind fall out onto the page. I'm facing the idea that I might not wake up after the surgery in a week's time. Or worse, I feel terrified that I'm going to wake up in the middle of it. And I feel convinced that I'm going to have a heart attack before I even get there. I've no job, and I just don't know how any of this is going to affect my wife and my sons. Writing this out might have made me feel worse, but as it all comes out, the tone changes. Because I write that I want to focus on the positive and on my recovery. I want to take things one step at a time and be open-minded about what's going to happen. Instead of all of these worries flying around my head, making me feel more anxious, writing them out helps me to slow them down, to acknowledge them, and to face up to them. I've been writing most mornings for a few years now, but it didn't come easily. After my depression, I was aware that journaling can be a helpful tool. And I tried things that people suggested, like gratitude lists or prompts, things like, what's the best thing that happened to you today? But I would just overthink it, and it would start to feel like a chore rather than something helpful. But then I came across the idea of morning pages, popularized by Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way. Morning pages are simply handwriting whatever's on your mind for 3 pages, first thing in the morning. And that sparked something in me because I could write whatever I wanted without worrying about whether it was the right thing. It's not about being a good writer or having anything interesting or valuable to say because I don't write for anybody else, just write for me. And that routine of writing gives me so many of the benefits. And those benefits were being tested last year. The surgery goes really well, and after a week in hospital, I'm back home again. At first, I can barely walk, and that's really tough to deal with because just a few months earlier, I'd been happily doing long-distance walks and climbing hills with my son. But as I write each day, I realized that it's not helpful to compare myself to what I could do before. What matters is what I can do today and what I might be able to do tomorrow. That reframe helps me to notice the small wins. 5 minutes walking with help, building steadily day by day to that first walk outside on my own again, which feels amazing. These are all victories that I get to celebrate. During my recovery, there's a lot of ups and downs. But when I'm feeling down, I describe it in my journal. It turns these unnamed feelings into something tangible, that I'm in more pain than usual, or I'm worrying about being unemployed again, and it's just too soon for that. It gives me something to work with, and it stops my mood from sinking further. Or it gets me to notice when I need more help from someone. And that is so different from how things were before. As I get back to full health, I start to deal with the fact that I still don't have a job. What am I going to do? Do I go back to what I was doing before? Or am I capable of changing after being in the same place for so long? And if so, what would that look like? It becomes a common topic in my daily writing, where my journal is a safe place to play with ideas and possibilities, where no idea is too stupid. In fact, the more creative I get, the less anchored I feel to the past. I start to realize that I wasn't happy where I was before. I felt stuck, lacked purpose, but I just hadn't properly acknowledged it to myself. Over time, I start to see patterns emerging in my writing as I return to the same themes time and again. I still want the continuity of staying connected to my profession as an actuary, but I want to explore my growing interest in coaching, and I still want to have a positive impact for mental health and well-being at work. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, I start to feel excited again as I realize I've actually been given a no regrets chance to try something different. Eventually, an opportunity comes along that seems as though it mirrors so much of what I've been writing in my journal. And it feels like it's the right time to take that leap of faith and experiment with something new. As I look back over the last year or so, I realized just how much my perspective has changed. Back in that day in March, sitting at that table, everything felt like it was falling apart. They weren't the worst things that could happen to me, but losing my job, major surgery, they were the things that kept me awake at night, worrying that they might happen. But living through them and writing every day, I've slowly been able to rewrite the story that I tell myself about those things. I couldn't change what happened to me, and I certainly couldn't control it. But by controlling my response, I've become strangely grateful about it. The redundancy meant I could focus on my recovery without worrying about what was going on at work. And the heart surgery forced me to pause. It gave me much needed time and space to reflect on what was really important to me in life. And both created unexpected opportunities. Last year, I never would have expected that those two events would directly lead me to standing here on the TEDxSt Albans stage, sharing my story with you all. Now, journaling is not a magic wand. I still had the support of my family, my friends, and the professionals around me. But that small daily routine of coffee and writing, with that vital continuity for me through all of that change and uncertainty, a safe place that I could turn to and check in with myself. And while my story is personal, I believe that the ideas are universal. Change is constant, and life will throw things at us that we don't choose and we certainly don't want. The story we tell ourselves about those things can leave us stuck or it can empower us. And the good news is that each of us gets to choose how we respond and how we write that story. Maybe, like me, that is through writing 3 lines, 3 pages, doesn't matter. But maybe it's something else, like walking or talking to a friend. Whatever that is, what story are you telling yourself? And what small action could you turn to rewrite it? Thank you.